Welcome to the Home-Based Business Success Podcast. And good morning. This is Ralph Lindy coming back at you with another episode of the Home-Based Business Success Podcast. And today we are going to be talking about networking problems, breaking out of your social comfort zone. And in times like these where a lot of people are finding it tough to make ends meet, we got price of fuel going up. We've got basic like milk prices. My goodness, they went up just last week, and just a lot of price increases. And some people just they're getting a lot of price increases due to inflation, but they're not getting any change in their income. So a lot of people are having to cut back. And in times like this, it can be difficult. If you're a network marketer, affiliate marketer, it can be difficult trying to make sales. And especially if you are marketing some more high-end products, like vitamins that cost like $50 a bottle, as opposed to cheap vitamins that you can buy at the grocery store that only cost $5 a bottle. How do you, as a marketer, how do you focus on making sales in a situation such as this? And for me, the answer can be found in looking at your networks. Who are the people that you are networking with? What are the products that you are trying to sell? What are the opportunities that you are trying to sell? And, do they match? Are you like trying to sell a Rolls Royce to wealthy clients? Or are you trying to sell a Rolls Royce in a trailer park? Yeah, if you're trying to do it, the second way, trying to sell a high-end product, but you're networking with folks that are of a lower income bracket, maybe folks that are definitely having trouble trying to make ends meet, you are going to have a lot of trouble trying to make sales, because by and large, folks that live in trailer parks do not have the kind of money to put into a Rolls Royce. And it all pretty much boils down to an old saying I love from Grant Cardone. He just says, start out every day, ask yourself, who's got my money? And then figure out, okay, what do you have to do? What kind of service do you have to provide to get that money from the people that have it? And what he advises is networking with the right people. And, if you want to increase your net worth, increase your networks and the quality of your networks. So, if you're trying to sell high-end products, make sure that you're networking with the right kind of people that have the money to invest or to spend on those products and services. And just because we're living in hard times right now, does not necessarily mean that everybody is stuck in hard times at the same depth. And doesn't necessarily mean everybody's experiencing hard times right now either. One story that I can think of that really illustrates this concept is back when I was working at a Catholic church back many years ago. We had a large parish, about 2,000 people, and in that church we had a couple secretaries that were, average income earners, came from family backgrounds that had gone through the Great Depression, were impoverished by the Great Depression, and these ladies were raised hearing all kinds of horror stories. And our parish priest, he came from a very wealthy family. And he decided, he shared his story, he decided to give up that wealth and that privilege so he could become a parish priest, and said he had this encounter with Christ and it just changed his life, and he went from being a very wealthy kind of a man to a guy that was living on a stipend of $400 a month, plus auto expense, plus housing expense. So a big change for him, but he came in, and the two ladies, the two secretaries, were sitting down at the table in the church having their lunch, and they were talking about the horror stories that they were raised with, the horror stories that they had heard about the Great Depression. And of course, that was a point in time where, folks had lost jobs, they had lost their bank accounts, they had lost their savings, they were standing in line for soup, for bread, and relying on the government for, sustenance, and just a very horrible time in world history. Not just in American history, but in world history. And these two ladies were sitting down talking about the horror stories of the Great Depression. Our parish priest sat down with those two ladies, heard what the conversation was about, and he decided he was going to share his own family experience. And he just said, I remember stories about the Great Depression. And yeah, it was a bad time. Times got so tough that my family had to sell one of our yachts. And he said that with a straight face. And at first these ladies thought, oh, he's got to be kidding. He's got to be kidding. His family could not have been that well off. But yeah, he was dead serious. He didn't crack a smile, didn't apologize. That was his experience. Some of the stories that he had heard about how bad the Great Depression was on his family. And we can relate this to what we've already gone through in the year 2020, with the pandemic, the global shutdown and everything. You've got folks like Madonna that were, Madonna, I remember a video of her sitting in a bathtub, naked, with rose petals all around her, singing a little song, something silly about fried fish, or having fish for dinner instead of their usual bill of fare, and just trying to say, look, we're all in this together, we're all suffering. But at the same time that Madonna was sitting in a bathtub full of rose petals, there were other people out there, stuck at home, not worried about fried fish, but worried about keeping the restaurant open, losing their businesses with each passing day, not being able to go out to work to earn a paycheck, not being able to pay the lights, the rent, the utilities, and they were just watching these bills pile up. And it's true, 2020, the pandemic, all that stuff, yeah, we were all in that together, but not everyone was stuck in it at the same level. Not everybody was stuck in it at the same depth. Some folks were swimming in a sea of misery, and they were up to their necks in that sea of misery. Other folks were in way over their heads, and unfortunately a lot of those people, watched their business ventures perish, lost their face-to-face businesses, and did not do very well at all. And then you've got other people on a higher social level who were dipping their toes into that same sea of misery and saying, yeah, we're all in this together, but we're not all at the same level. And that may sound like a negative critique, but actually we can view this in a very positive light. Most people, when it comes to networking, they tend to network with people who are of their same social status. Broke people will tend to network with other broke people. Middle-income people will do a pretty good job of networking with other middle-income people. And the higher-income people, the people in the higher-income brackets, they do a great job networking with other wealthy people. But very few times do we see people cross over. And poor people that are doing network marketing or affiliate marketing, they can do a whole lot better if they focus on networking with the higher income brackets rather than people who are just like themselves. But this calls for us to move out of our social comfort zones. Last podcast, I spoke a little bit about expanding your comfort zone. Well, this is something similar, only we have what can be called a social comfort zone, where you're more comfortable relating with people that are more like you, people of a similar economic background, job experience, things like that. And you may be thinking, okay, I don't know how to network with the wealthy people because I'm not wealthy. I don't know really how to talk to them even. And you see, the thing is that wealthy people are pretty much like everybody else. They've got a lot of the same concerns. One old saying, they put their pants on one leg at a time, just like everybody else. And if you allow yourself to kind of break out of that hero worship type mentality, or out of the mentality that says rich people are evil, poor people are good, if you just learn to think of people as people, no matter what their income level, no matter, what their possessions, then you can overcome that fear. And you see, the thing is that if you are active in like church work, charitable work, some sort of organization, some sort of cause that, you want to improve the planet, you want to save the whales, something like that, you may find that you're already networking with a lot of wealthy people. You just may not know it yet. And so, networking with wealthy people, actually, once you break through that mentality that says, oh, they're so high above me, or if you think wealthy people are evil, the mindset may be they're so far beneath me. I'm not going to waste my time on those evil rich people. But when you break through that mindset that says they are so much different from me, and you just acknowledge them as as your fellow brothers and sisters of the human race, the only thing that separates them from everybody else is they're more successful in business. They've got more money. They have a bigger bank account. And when you are wanting to sell a product or a service, it makes sense, especially if it's a high-end product or service, to be networking with the people that can afford to buy your product or service, and be cultivating friendships with them, networking with them, cultivating relationships with them. Doesn't mean you have to be a polite way to put it, a brown noser, ass kisser, I guess I can say that, sure. But doesn't mean you have to be a brown noser or an ass kisser. Just be yourself, but be polite. And talk to these people of above average means in the same way that you would talk to anybody else. And if you think that you have nothing of value to give to these people, to provide to these people, think again. Do you know how to crochet? How many wealthy people are there out there that want to learn how to crochet? How many above average income earners are there out there that would like to buy a magazine about crochet, that would like to buy crochet lessons, that would like to buy a book about crochet? There are a lot of people out there that may have more money than you, but may not have a certain talent that you have, or a certain skill that you have, or, just a certain personality trait that you have that they're going to like. You may have to kind of search for it, but we all have something of value that we can provide to other people, whether they're people who are beneath us, I hate to say that, but on a lower income level, or people who are on a higher income level. We all have things that we can share with one another. The thing that we have to keep in mind is to find out, okay, what are these talents? What are these skills that I have? What are these products or opportunities that I have access to or can create that will be of interest to people who are above average income earners or top level income earners, the heavy hitters, so to speak. What is it that I have that they want? And then how can we make connections? And when you answer that question, then you're ready to just step out of your social comfort zone and just start talking to wealthy people. But, just think of them as people, not exactly average people, but just people. Your own brothers and sisters of the human race. And just lose that, whether it be hero worship or the tendency to look down on people that are higher income earners than you. Get over that hang up and just start dealing with these folks as human beings. And some of them, they will gravitate towards you. They will want to do business with you. Others will not. We're not all in the same boat. We are all human beings. We are all going through the same times, but we're not all going through the same times in the same way at the same level. So just keep that in mind. And if you're wanting to network and you're selling high-end things, high-end products, high-end services, some people, they say, okay, I'm going more from high-end to low-end so that the average income earners and the lower income earners can afford to buy my products and buy my services. And we do that to a certain extent too. But that doesn't mean that you have to go totally low-end in order to make ends meet. You can also focus on some high-end products that will pay you well and earn you some really good commissions. But if you're doing that, you've got to focus on improving the quality of your networks. Make sure you're networking with the right people, folks that have the money to buy your product or your service, and folks that may have the need for your product or your service, whatever that may be. And so, if you want to do better at making sales during difficult times, get over that hang-up of thinking, we're all the same. We are all human beings, yes. We all spring from the same earth, yes. We all grow old, we all die, we all perish, yes, all that, metaphysical and, meaning of life stuff is true. But we're not all on the same level. We are not all the same income earners. And if you're backing away from high-end products, thinking this is the wrong economy for that sort of thing, just think about that first story that I told. First story about the Great Depression. Back in the Great Depression, there were folks standing in bread lines, standing in soup lines, trying to make ends meet, begging the government for sustenance. And then there were also other people who were buying and selling yachts. So just let that sink in. We are all in this life together, but we are not all at the same level. And if you're wanting to sell some high-end products, make sure that you are networking with the high-end demographic, the high-end people, the above-average income earners. And the more that you are able to do that, to break out of your social comfort zone and just start talking with people who are on a higher income level than you. Maybe eventually, if you start focusing on expanding your networks and relating more with the wealthy people, they might just bring you up with them. Kind of goes back to that one book that I'm reading, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. We tend to become more like the people that we hang out with the most. And if you're spending a lot of time as a poor person networking with other poor people, then you're going to be encouraged to stay on that income level. But if you're a poor person, an average person who is networking with above average and wealthy people, then your mindset is going to start to become more like theirs. And then you are going to be encouraged to improve yourself and to raise yourself from a lower income bracket to a higher income bracket. The quality of our thoughts affect the quality of our life. What we think we can do and what we think we can't do, we tend to manifest in our life. And the folks that we network with, they can have a significant influence upon us. So, one other benefit besides just making sales, one other benefit of networking with folks who are in a higher class level or higher income bracket than you is that you will begin to talk with them. You will begin to see how they think, what they think about, what's important to them, what they worry about, what they don't worry about. And you will begin to be able to adopt their mindset into your own mindset. And some of that good mindset, good attitude stuff may just start to rub off on you. And you might find yourself raising yourself up from a low income level to a higher income level to an even higher income level. It's all about growth, development, mindset, and networking. And just don't make the mistake of thinking that everybody in the world is exactly like you or even worse off. Because, there's a lot of misery out in the world. There's a lot of poverty out in the world. There's also a lot of wealth out in the world. And if you set your mindset to wanting to, get your share of that wealth and do it through legal, ethical means, then you're going to have a much better chance of attaining that than if you just have the mindset, everybody's broke, I've got no chance at all to make sales doing this, so I might as well just give up, throw in the towel, and call it a day. Now, don't get yourself into that mindset. Overcome your social comfort zone. Start networking with people that have the money to pay for the product or services that you have to offer, and just get more comfortable in dealing with them. And the more experience that you have in dealing with folks like that, the easier and easier it is going to become until it just becomes second nature. And you're talking with somebody that, was in such bad shape during the Great Depression that their family had to sell a yacht. You're just as comfortable with them as you are with a couple of ladies talking about how their grandmothers and grandpas had to stand in soup lines or bread lines in order to survive. It's a lot of different levels human beings are at in our world today, and just learn to see the full picture, and not just the one small piece of the picture that you currently have. Expand your horizon and step out of your comfort zone, and especially your social comfort zone. And once you start doing that, things can begin to happen. So that's all for today. If you want to find me online, you can find me at ralphlindy.com. If you want to shoot me a question, some problems that you're having in home-based business or affiliate marketing or network marketing, go ahead and contact me through the website, ralphlindy.com. And if I have an answer, I will work it into a podcast. And if I don't, I won't make up an answer. I like talking from my own experience and not just making stuff up. So that's all for today. Thanks for dropping by. We are going to close out with a song by Ash Gainley, Universe Acceptable. And until later, take care, and may you have great success in your home-based business venture, whatever it may be.
Like Like a summer's day, you questioned life and lost your faith. You needed to believe in something that your eyes had never seen. And now you found that you can't find the answers to the questions that you had in mind. It's like a dial tone, no one's on the line, and now you're feeling so alone. Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Or do you need to see an explanation for the mystery? Trust your heart, it knows the way. In yourself, you need some faith. Don't listen to the crowd. No one's got this whole thing figured out. Listen to the voice inside, the inner self you long denied. The day that you were born, you were given everything you need to carry on. Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Or do you need to see an explanation for the mystery? How many bright suns shine upon the lucky ones who wander? How far have we come? And will we go before we're done? Yeah, the hardest thing it seems to me is letting go of all beliefs. Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Or do you need to see an explanation for the mystery?